Hello, friends. There are two families of short shot. There's a modified putting stroke, which is, of course, either putting, chipping, or a bigger version called a pitch and run. Or there's a modified full swing, and that is a greenside bunker shot, or its grass equivalent, commonly nowadays called a flop shot. In fact, I often train bunker shots by first teaching people a flop shot off of grass, and then moving into the sand with the extra complications. Now, once you find yourself in one of these greenside bunkers, of course you're not allowed to practice swing and hit the sand, but certainly when you're trying to perfect your technique, I would suggest that hitting the sand is essential as part of your training. So what I recommend you do is draw two lines perpendicular to the target, about 10 inches apart. And interestingly, we not only want to hit the sand, but also do it predictably. So then put the golf balls halfway between those lines, and then step back away from the ball so that you've got some of the two lines with no golf balls available as an indicator. So the technique is this. We adopt a fairly broad stance. You are allowed to flatten the sand under your feet, but you can't build a stance. There's a distinction. Just squirm your feet to flatten the feet. And then, very importantly, you kick your knees to the left and you leave them there. This is all done with the shoulders and arms and wrists. So the knees have to be where you want them at impact, because you don't want to be moving them earlier in the swing. It's just unpredictable and generally not effective. Then you point the shaft more or less at your middle with an open club face. If you notice, the base of my club is twisted to 1 o'clock on a clock face, 30 degrees open. That's not, as it turns out, excessive. And of course, I've got a very nice Mizuno sand wedge here, which has got 57 degrees of loft. And actually, I think it's 15 degrees of bounce. In other words, this trailing edge stands up quite acutely. That means that when you open the club, which makes it even more significant, it stops the club from burying. So then you hover the club above the first line, and then try to hit the sand no earlier than the first line. Now, interestingly, I mention that because most people hit the sand inadvertently way before the first line, and then the ball goes into the face of the bunker or skins it out across the green. So flatten the sand, kick the knees left, open the club face, hover the club where you want to look and hit, and take a swing. And if you'll notice, that entered and exited on the two lines that I want. Then, of course, you walk forward and ask, well, is it going to work when I do it with a ball? And the answer is not bad. That's a bunker shot. Now, when you follow through, you're going to keep the club open. It's quite distinct from a full swing in that regard. So normally I recommend that with a full swing, the club is turning like a gate. With this one, you want to hold on and keep the club looking at the sky. The most evident distinction.